Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. Today we got something cool. This is the HUBSAN X4 Air Pro, also known as the HUBSAN H501A. You might have seen a bunch of reviews I've done and some mods and upgrades and range tests on the H501S, which is pretty much almost the same quad as this as far as the looks of it and the size, but that one comes with a controller and has got FPV installed in it. This version here is more along the lines of something like a DJI product where you link up to your phone and you can also do Waypoint missions and follow me and all kinds of stuff. So it doesn't come with like a physical controller or a screen, so you're going to need to have some kind of portable device for this one to hook up. But today we're going to do a full unbox, inspection, setup, and an in-depth flight test and pros and cons on this. So this is going to be an all-inclusive review. Sit back, relax, and let's get started. Before we go ahead and unbox this, let's just look at some of the features this has. So it has a waypoint function where you can draw waypoints on your phone, which is cool, which is actually an upgrade from the H501S I originally reviewed. This has a 1080p camera, looks like around the same camera. It does have GPS. It's got a headless mode, automatic return. Those are all in the first variation of the H501S. Altitude, same thing, follow me. 20-minute flight time, so about the same flight time. What's different is this one has the Wi-Fi app, and the FPV is actually going to be through the Wi-Fi. So we're going to see how all that performs in the flight test in just a sec, but what we want to do first is unbox this bad boy and see what it's all about. We've got, looks like a propeller case here, propeller case here. Here's the quad itself. Looks very familiar, doesn't it? Looks almost exactly like the H501S. It does look like the graphics on it are a little bit different. I've got an X pattern on the top and maybe a little bit of a different variation on the stickers and stuff. We can see those gold stickers. But very similar to the H501S. And then this package here looks like we've got the instruction manual and feels like the phone holder and stuff. So we'll bust out that in a second. And the last box here is some other peripherals like a charger, and that's all that's in the box. You can see the box is empty. First off, we're going to dig into the propellers. Let's see what we get here. So these are all kind of just jammed in here. So it looks like per box we're getting 4 propellers. Actually, the way to open these boxes is from the bottom here. There we go. That's the way you're supposed to open them. And so we get 2 sets of propellers, so great job HUBSAN for giving us 2 full sets. And let's just open up a couple more of these boxes before we look at the quadcopter. Okay, so this other small box, as I was thinking, is a little tiny charger. So this is just a 2S charger. It's got a lot of venting here. There's a plug in the back, and this is the power plug. The US power plug in my version I got here, and there's where we're gonna plug into the charger, just like that. And this looks like a propeller removal tool. So if you have trouble removing your propellers, because as we can see the motors are so sunken in to these cowlings here that we don't really have much to hold on to when we're unscrewing and screwing on the propellers. So if your propellers become too tight, just use this wrench, pop it on here for some grip on the motor, and you can unscrew your propellers. Last box. So this is going to be hopefully all of the FPV clamping and stuff that we're gonna be clamping our phone to. So a little micro USB cable for probably firmware and some charging. And here is a user manual for the HT005 relay. Okay, it looks like a Wi-Fi amp. So this is kind of interesting. This is reminiscent of the Phantom 2, where they had that, remember that Wi-Fi booster. It's basically a controller with no buttons. It's got some plugs here. It's got a power on-off switch. This looks like a little reset switch recessed in there. And then this is the USB, micro USB for charging. And there's our spring-loaded mechanism for our phone. It looks like it's gonna fit maybe like a 5 to 6 inch phone in here. Wow, so there's really nothing else to it. I just turned the power switch on and we can see that we have the Wi-Fi transmitting. That's probably the link to the craft. And then we have our battery charge state So there we go, we just turned green, so it looks like the link is ready to bind to like your phone. And then we definitely want to charge this up before we use it. And here's the quad. So nothing super special to look at. It looks just like the other X4 little minis that coincide with this one, like the H501S and the H501S Advanced. And there have been a couple other iterations. So we got our brushless motors here. You can see that we have a nice gold top on this brushless motor. And this is cool. The way they make these look so sleek is by insetting them in the arm cowling here. And then what's going to happen is the air that the propellers push down is pushing down here and coming through the arm and cooling the ESCs and the motors and everything. And the way Hubsan decides to do it is they have the light built into the landing gear, which is cool. So we get kind of a dual purpose landing gear and light. There's our cooling vents on the bottom. So just pop in, looks like you're gonna have to use your own micro SD card there. So it looks like the same craft, they just changed that 5.8 FPV video for a Wi-Fi type of link. Here's a battery compartment. So these are the little mini EC3 connectors. They're smaller than those. These are the EC2s, balance port, 2S battery, 7.4 volt, 10C, 2700 milliamp hour, just like the other Hubsan X4s come with in this style. So nothing new, nothing special here, but I've tested these before and these things do get 20 minutes of flight time. Really great flight time for not that much money. Okay, so just pulling open the manual, we do have spare filter for stable image under highlight. Wow, that's interesting. This is a little filter that looks like you can kind of put on your quad. It's just a little filter here. So if you're in really high sunlight, usually how I am here in Hawaii, you're gonna wanna put this thing on. Okay, so this is the way this thing goes on. So you can see how there's a rim around the camera, and you can see that that's the sticky part that double-sided sticky tape is on there. So we're gonna pull off this tab, and then we have our sticky circle, and we wanna just put it so it fits right on there, just kind of pushing it and adjusting it. And look at that. So it's like an little ND mini filter that you can just stick on. You know, here in Hawaii, everything is washed out if you don't have a filter. So hopefully it's like a polarized plus an ND filter. Maybe it looks like in the ND8 range. Great, so can't wait to try this. Let's go ahead and get the cell phone fired up and connect to this. Let me charge this up and connect to this little Wi-Fi amp and see what it's all about. There it goes, so the light turned green. Now it should be popping up, and there it is, the HT005. We want to connect. Connected, awesome. Okay, now we're gonna start up the quad. So this is the process you would do before you fly, of course. And while that's booting up, I'm gonna go ahead and slide the phone into the relay. I like how this thing gives you a nice grip on here as well. So the quad is booted up, and we want to go into our drone application of X Hubsan. There we go, that's our quad. Enter device, and let's see if we are connected. So I'm going to click on camera. Okay, yeah, you can see that we are seeing the camera coming out of the quad. See it moving around there. Seems like it's pretty laggy right now. Compass calibration, please rotate. All right, so that went away, and it looks like we're all set. Wow, is that? Okay, we got to bind the phone. So I'm going to press OK. Oh my goodness. You see that lag? I already put it down and it's still moving around. Anyhow, let's go over the controls. Maybe it'll be better out there, you know, in the flight test. So check it out. So this is our interface, guys, for our UI. And we've got altitude, distance, speed up on the top, tells us the status of the motors. Our HD video signal, our control signal, how many satellites we've got locked into the quad. It's actually seeing 10 here in the house, so it's got a good GPS antenna in there. Our percentage of power on the drone, a little options gear. We have our Google map, just like DJI stuff, we can choose satellite or regular maps. For some reason the satellite isn't working, probably because it's using the Wi-Fi, so you probably want to load this up without being connected to the quad and try to load up the map of where you're going to fly before you go fly. Very reminiscent of DJI. Clicking back on there, I'm thinking that's aileron, elevator, rudder, and throttle. It looks like the percentages up there on the right. Further moving on, we're going to click on this quad here, and this is how we're going to get into our waypoint mode, follow mode, orbit mode. So they are getting better. Down to the controller, so we can take those thumbsticks off the screen if we wanted to, or put them back on. And you can see it actually takes off these values on the right as well. So there's our values of input. And if we turn that off, that also goes away. And then we have our return to home. Of course, you have to be in the air first to do a return to home. And then we have our launch. Definitely don't want to press OK right now because we're in the house. You want to be outside before you launch. And then we have our pictures and video. So I'm just clicking on the video button. Of course, there's no SD card in there, so it's not going to take any video. And then whenever you press this button up here, that's going to kind of take you into your gallery, so you can check and download your pictures if you wanted to. Let's go ahead and go into the options here on the settings. Okay, default height of waypoints. So this would be for our waypoint flight modes. We can adjust all these settings: max height of waypoints. We can do max distance of flying route. So you can go up to 1,500 meters, pretty far. Max flight radius. So radius around its home position is also a 1,500 meter limit. Then we have our max stay time at every waypoint. So you can adjust that from 0 to 600 seconds. Wow. So that just means at each waypoint, it's where it's going to stop and move to the next waypoint. So you can have no time or way up there. We're going to slide up. We can't go any further that way. So that's all of our waypoint flight functions. And we're going to go down to controller here. And this gives us our joystick mode, mode 2 or mode 1. Take off only when GPS signal is well, or I think they mean good, which is probably 13 or more satellites. So I'm going to leave it at yes. You don't want to be flying this thing in the house. This doesn't have any ground sonic sensors or optical flow sensors, so I'd leave that on yes and only fly it outside. You don't want to be taking off and hitting no and taking off when you barely have any GPS satellites. And then you try to initiate a return to home when you fly far out, and it thinks its home point is way off of your position because it didn't have time to get good accuracy. So you want to leave that as yes. Screen rotation on your device. Joystick operating mode, so you can choose from junior, senior, or advanced. So more sluggish to more snappy feel. I'm going to leave it right at senior here. Next thing you want to go into is map, so you can do satellite or mixed. I usually like mixed, where it shows the street names and the satellite. Sampling precision of waypoint drawing, so that's just more precise or less precise. I'm just going to leave it in the middle. And we're going to go over to relay. So here's our relay. I thought we already set that up. I'm just going to go ahead and click on it again. Anyhow, it looks like it probably was already connected. I just unnecessarily did that again. Now we have others. So this is just basically information. Software version, aircraft model, GPS accuracy test, all that stuff that we can go through. So timeout for GPS accuracy. So we're going to be doing this stuff in the field. What it needs to do is it needs to do an accuracy test to your phone and itself, just to give you the best precision, which is actually pretty good. Image transmission, which is the FPV, horizontal and calibration, and our novice guide. So clicking on the novice guide will get us back into our legend and information about what's on the screen. Cool. So I think that pretty much goes through everything, guys. I don't think there was anything else down there. Nope. All right, cool. So that's a good little introduction to what this thing's all about. There is our map. Okay, so our map did come in. I guess it's using the cell data of my phone. So you see how I can't slide the map around because I'm controlling the craft now. Say I wanted to click off there. That's pretty cool. So I can slide the map around if I click on and off that controller. And then we have our controls again. All right, cool guys. So I think that's it for the HUBSAN H501A as far as the setup, inspection, and the unbox, actually. That's what we did. So let me recharge all this. Let's get out and do our flight test and the pros and cons. Let's go fly. All right guys, so we're here with the H501A and the relay booster, the Wi-Fi booster it comes with, and my phone. And I also have an extra battery here just in case we don't finish what we need to do. We can pop in this other battery. This was from the original H501S quadcopter I did my reviews on, one of them. So I'm going to have that as a backup, but I do have a fully charged one here in the quad now. And I think I forgot to touch base on the propellers on this one. It's kind of opposite way they spin compared to other quads. These ones, the top leading edge here, actually spins into the side of the quad. So just want to make sure that when you put these on, you have that top leading edge spinning into the side, and then you'll just screw it on in the opposite direction, just like this. So when you do put on these propellers, go ahead and make sure, just like any quad that's screw on like this, go ahead and make sure they're kind of finger tight, you know, give them a good crank. Don't just slide them on there and let them sit softly, just in case. So the wind is coming up, well, it's actually kind of going down. It's coming from this direction right now. It was coming from this direction earlier. It's about 6 p.m. in the afternoon. You can see the sun's kind of low in the sky. But I'm just going to leave this this filter on, the one they gave us in the box that you saw me put on in the unboxing at the house there. So I'm gonna go ahead and leave that on, see what kind of video we get. I do have a video card in there. This is like a 16 gig card in there, so we'll have the video up here popping up, and also I'm going to record my screen on my phone with the AZ Record app, so you guys can see what's going on the phone, what's going on with my hat cam, and what's going on with the onboard camera. From time to time I'll be switching those around. So we're going to do a real thorough review. Let me go ahead and get this thing linked up and started, kind of like we did in the house, and let's fly it. So we want to rotate just horizontally like this. It tells us to go this way, so you're probably seeing what's happening on the screen since I am recording it. And we just want to rotate it like this until it gives us another menu. Just hitting that down. So if it asks you this, just go ahead and bind the aircraft to your device so nobody else can log in while you have this thing booted up. Now it's going to do a GPS accuracy test. And there we go. So I think it was just looking at your phone accuracy and stuff and just seeing how it is. So we already have 10 satellites you can see up on the screen to the right there. If you want to change to video, click on the video, and starting to record now. You hear that chime there, and then we'll go ahead and lift off. So pressing the lift off H, pressing OK. We should spin up the motors. And let's see how it does in this wind. All right, lifting up. Yeah, I wish it wasn't so windy, man. The wind should be dying down soon, but the sun's like right there. Once the sun kind of goes behind the mountains, it does a little better. So we're still at 11 satellites, you can see there. And you know, this doesn't have any kind of image stabilization on the camera, so you are going to get that shake. Let's just see what the latency is now. In the house it was really bad. Let's see what it is now. If we turn on the controls. Okay, it's not nearly as bad as it was in the house, probably because there was some interference in the house. So it's tolerable now with the latency. Let's see how solid the hover is. Keep in mind there's some wind here, so not ideal to test stability and hover. But it does let you know what's going on with the wind. You can see how it's trying to fight that way because the wind's coming from that direction. Red lights in the back, kind of a bluish purple in the front. It's looking good. I am recording the video. Hey guys, what's up? Thanks for watching. And you can see that the camera is kind of tilted down, and we'll see how the filter's doing on this thing. So you can kind of just see my chest and feet mostly. Anyway, it looks good. It's keeping it. I haven't touched the controls since that little rotation, and it is just a foot away from its home point, and that's reasonable due to the wind pushing it around. So here is the speed of flight, and we are in, I think, medium mode. Let me get the sun out of the camera here. That way. So we're in like medium rate mode. So I'm gonna go full pitch to the left, or full yaw to the left actually. Okay, so that's full yaw to the left. A little bit of wander and a slight altitude change, but that's not bad. And then we have, let's try, started wandering a little bit after I let off. I'm not gonna hold that against it too much because of the wind though. Okay, and this is the medium rates. Here's full pitch forward. Let's see how fast it starts going. Okay, speed 5 to 6 meters per second. Going down a little bit, don't want to hit the ground. All right, whoa. Okay, so a little bit of an altitude problem there. That was interesting. So you saw it flip over. That's because the wind was pushing on the front of it and pushing it down, and it wasn't adjusting its altitude enough. And this is what might happen if you don't have any ground sensors. This thing doesn't have any ground sensors, so let me stop that video just in case something happened to it. So in the wind, be careful of flying low. As you can see, we did hit the ground and flip over. But the motors did shut off. I just throttled all the way down and the motor shut off. So I'm not going to knock it that much. It seemed like it did do a decent fail safe. Got a little bit of grass in the rubber here. Okay, well I'm going to put it right back on its spot. And let's launch again and do some of these advanced functions. So we're going to launch, pressing OK. It should be logging its home point whenever we launch. Okay. So lifting off, and let's go kind of right into some advanced functions. I am noticing now that the lag in the video is pretty bad now. It got a little bit worse. Anyway, let's do some advanced functions. Let's try to follow me. I'm going to back up here till we can see me in view. Go up a little bit. Okay, so reasonable. At least I can see what's happening on the phone, even though it's a little bit laggy. I'm going to press record again. I'll have that up on the screen so you guys can see the quality of that. Well, this is with the filter and it's in low light now, so this is how it looks. We're going to go in advanced features and we're going to go follow me. And we're just going to press OK. So what this thing should do, again, wind isn't that great for stability, but this is what's happening. You can see how the grass is a little bit brown and green right now because we've been in kind of a drought. But it's going to follow me now. Let's see how it does. So I'm going to walk to the right here, and it should keep its head locked. No, I don't think it's following. That's interesting. Let's try that again. Let's go back in the middle and follow me, go. Follow me mode exited. I'm not sure why it's exiting that. That's interesting. Maybe there's too much wind. That's kind of what it seems like to me. Let's try a different mode. Let's try orbit. Go. Okay, so it's going up to a designated height, which looks like 5.5 meters. And now it's orbiting. It should be turning its head. It's trying to fight that wind, that's for sure. Dogs are going crazy over there. Okay, so it is doing an orbit, and again, not ideal conditions because now the wind is pushing it towards me, and it can't. For some reason, it doesn't want to push back at the wind, and so we're getting like a lopsided oval kind of. So anyway, that's how that's working out, or maybe it's just something I didn't quite do right. So we'll go ahead and stop it here. So that's how the orbit works. Let's go ahead and try some other functions. Let's try the follow me one more time. Let me get into the center here. And one more time, try to follow me. Okay. Wow, follow me exited. So it keeps exiting. Let me go a little higher. and a little further back. Turn the head a little bit so we're kind of in view. Whoa, delay on the video so I can't really center myself. There we go. One more time. We're at 55%. We better hurry up. Follow me. Sitting there and I'm pressing OK. Oh boy, yeah, I don't know, guys. Let's try to turn off the controller controls and now follow me. There we go. Nope, it exited again. So sorry about that. I don't know what's going on. Follow me is not staying engaged for some reason for me. It's almost like it thinks there's some controls. I know if you can try to control it with a thumbstick, it will, you know, try to exit it. So that's how it's working for me. Let's try a Waypoint mission. Please adjust. Gosh, that warning went away super quick and I couldn't even read it. So there I am in that field, a little blurry, but I can kind of see what's going on. So what I would like to do is draw a line. Draw a line. Okay, not available now. So let's go ahead and do a return to home, draw a line for our Waypoint flight. Oh, cool. Look at this. If I press return to home and I can return to home from the takeoff point where it was or my current position. It's looking at the GPS of the phone. So that's awesome. I want to do just the takeoff point because we want to see how accurate it is. So it's going to go up to a designated safe height, which looks like maybe 50 to 70 feet. And it's going to go ahead and come down right where it's took off, hopefully. Let's see how accurate it is. So it's coming down, looks like 1 to 2 meters per second. A little bit of bouncing there. Trying to land, there we go. So it shut off their propellers. And let's see what the accuracy is. So just remember, we did kind of crash over there a little bit low and I didn't reboot the craft. So that may have had something to do with it. But we are, let's see, that's 1, 2, about 3 feet off from the home position. So what's happening is it's within 5 feet. That's okay with me. 3 feet isn't bad. So that'll do. So what we'll do now is we'll put it back on the H. We'll do our Waypoint flight and maybe we'll try a return to user in our next return to home. So apparently you have to have the motors off when you do this Waypoint flight. So I'm want to kind of draw a line here. And so I'm clicking on draw a line and it's waiting for me to draw. So we'll go just like this. We'll just do a circle and then come back. So that's 13 waypoints. Hopefully it doesn't crash into anything. So let's see what it does. I guess we have to press submit. Send successfully. So it's going from the phone to the craft firmware. And we're going to press done. Please take off first. Okay, so now we have to take off. Okay. So let's go ahead and take this thing off and see if we can execute this Waypoint flight. Okay, so it's going to sit there and now I'm going to press done and see what happens. Waypoint. Minimum 3 meters. Okay, go. Okay, so it's going to its predetermined default height within each waypoint. Cool, so it's turning and it's going to go ahead and go to each waypoint. There it goes. So it's going that way to its first waypoint and you can see on the screen where it's at. Let's see if we can zoom in here. Yep. You can kind of zoom in to keep track of it. And it did turn its head. Okay, battery's getting low. I didn't like that. But it's going to try to complete its waypoint flight. So there it goes. I heard a signal on low battery. And you can see the video up here is pretty cool. How you can see the video in the screen on the top. Let's see if we click on that. Great. So we can go in and out of the full screen video if we wanted to. Back to our waypoint flight. It's saying battery is only 30%. So let's see what happens if it'll So let's see what happens if it'll land or what. It looks like it is continuing on its journey. Okay, it's going from waypoint to waypoint. We have 30% power. I think what Hubsan has done is they've updated the firmware pretty good now, so when it gets low enough, it'll go ahead and return to home automatically. Now let's see if it does that within its waypoint. So it's going to turn, and these settings are all adjustable. Like, it looks like it's set to sit there for 5 to 10 seconds before it goes to the next waypoint. But if you want to, you can have 0 wait time, and you can adjust all the height if you wanted to. So it looks like it's at 26%. Hopefully it can finish this journey before it lands. Should be just about able to finish. And then what I'll do is I'll cancel out, and then I'll just return to operator, to me, and see how that works. Maybe I'll stand over here. So say you change your position, and you can see my position there on the screen, how I'm changing it. Say you move around, and when you return to home, you don't want it to go where you're not at anymore. Say you're on a boat or something, and you were flying and you parked your boat somewhere else and anchored. You don't want that thing to land in the water. Okay, so we're at the last couple waypoints. It's at 26% power. It is up there at 27 meters, 28 meters, 29 meters, where the designated default waypoint mission setting is, which you can change again. Each waypoint, you can change the altitude. Okay, it's at its last waypoint. Now it should turn to come home. Now let's see what it does. Okay, so it's kind of facing the position it was. Waypoint mode exited. Okay, cool. So there we go. So that was the waypoint, and it did it perfect. I want to return to home now. Boom, and I want to go to current position. Okay. Let's see what it does. So I'm going to stand right here, not move, and let's see how close it gets to me and if all that works correctly. Looks like the video's doing good. It's still recording. Excellent. Wow, they really did work on this. Just the follow me wasn't working for me. Okay, so let's see if it's gonna land right on top of me or close to me or what. Looks like you may have to move out of the way. Could be a safety issue if it lands right on top of you. Okay, well, it's a few feet away, so that's okay. Cool. So it's within about, there, it turned off the propellers automatically. So it's within about, let's see, 1, 2, 3, about 4 to 5 feet. So not bad. Looks pretty good. 26% power left. So that was a pretty good flight test. Let's go ahead and turn off the recording here so we don't lose it. You hear that little chime? So you can see how when I put my hand over it to grab it, it just like lost all FPV signal, or not FPV, but GPS signal. But that was pretty cool. And that filter's on there, guys, so you'll be able to see how it looks with the filter. In my other videos, I might do one without the filter on, but I just wanted to put that filter on. I thought it was going to be a lot brighter, but apparently it's a little bit later in the evening. So we're at 26 power left. You know what I want to do is I want to try to launch again, and I want to take some pictures. I almost forgot. So let's see if we can launch in this low of power, and I'll take some pictures up there. Okay, so we're launching. Pick it up and just quickly take some snapshots. Try to get pretty high. Go in the camera, take a photo, kind of sunset, here. There's the West Maui Mountains. Take another photo. So you hear that satisfying photo click. So turn your volume on because I don't see any indicator on the screen that you took a photo at all. So make sure you have your volume up so you know it's taking photos for you. So it doesn't really like that wind, but it is a nice shot. Let me go up a little more, a little higher up. Let's do a vertical range test on only 24% power. Video's getting a little choppy. Whoops. Whoa, that got kind of weird. Full throttle up. Battery is only 20%. It's pretty windy up there. Let me take a couple pictures and then we'll come down. Okay. Turn this way a little bit. Looks like the video is getting really choppy. I'm just taking photos while we're way up there. And again, this is like right into the sun, so let me turn it to the left a little and see if we can get a photo of the other mountain. Looks like it's too windy though. Look at that. It's facing downwards because it's so windy. Let's get a picture of this pool. See how those pictures come up. We'll have those popping up on the screen. A couple of photos. 19%. Should we just hang out up here until it does some kind of return to home? Full throttle up. Altitude is 90 meters. Whoa, it's getting pretty wobbly from all this wind. Okay, aircraft force return to home, and look at that. I didn't see that before. On the left return to home icon, we have a little animated icon. I like that it's in its return to home state. So it's going to go to this position in space, which it is now, and then it's going to come directly down and it should land on that position. So this high, you can see the FPV is getting pretty choppy. So I'd say, you know, 100 meters, even with this extender, before your video gets a little choppy. We'll have to try more of a lateral flight, distance flight, you know, where I kind of like to do my long range flights up on the mountain. This is kind of a good test for residential area. Let's see if we can do any yawing and stuff. Full yaw to the left. Nope. It's locking us out of our yaw. And let's see if we can do pitch. Yeah, we can do pitch and roll, so we can move it around, but it looks like it exited return to home. So let's keep it going. Takeoff point, go. All right. So it's got to hurry up. It's got to hurry up and return to home. So I'm not going to touch it. I'm going to let it return to home because it's only at 13%. So for those of you watching, technically, you know, you don't want to be dropping it below 20% of the battery life on your flights. For longevity, you can, but just so your batteries last the longest amount and are in the best shape, don't go further than 20%, much at all. So not bad. So look at that. I don't really like that hopping, but that's okay. It's not going to damage anything if you're on grass like this. Maybe if you're on dirt and stuff, you want to get some extended landing gear or some 3D printed landing gear. So return to home part 2 there. 2.5 feet away from its home position. That's not bad at all. So cool. So I've had the video up on the screen and the pictures and stuff, and let's sit down and do a little pros and cons. Okay guys, so it's getting late in the evening. What is it? It's almost 7 now, so should be wrapping this thing up. But so a little pros and cons. This is the perfect time of night actually to check out the identification lights. So we got the blue in the front, red in the back, highly visible for night flying and day flying too, you know. If it's not too sunny, you can actually see them from some distance. The major con for me here was I didn't have any ability to do the follow me for some reason on this drone. I'm not sure if it's possibly, you know, like a firmware problem, glitch, or maybe a defect. I just did the review of the 5107, the little brushed version of this that just uses the phone for control, and that follow me worked. But for some reason this one didn't want to work. Maybe the wind was too high. That's all I can think of why that's not working. So that's the first con. The second con is, of course, you don't have any camera stabilization on this guy. So if you're looking for smooth and jitterless video, this isn't the one for you. But for what it's got, all of these functions here, it's got good return to home, it's got auto takeoff and landing, it's got a low battery return to home. So no matter how far you are out, even if you neglect to bring it on back, it's going to come back because it computes its battery life to return to home, and it will automatically do that. You don't have to say okay, or you can't even bypass that. It'll just do it, so you're sure you're not gonna to lose this thing. It did have different rates of flight. I think all we did was the intermediate rate for the speed, so you can see the speeds up on the screen. I also have the flight time for that flight compiled on the flight time pop up on the screen here, so you guys know how much flight time that was. But otherwise, they're really advancing the app here. It's looking good. They do have that Waypoint flight here. That worked pretty darn good. I just left it at the default settings. Turn off the controller sticks and we can zoom in here. So I just left it at the default settings, and it did complete that entire 13-point flight. Again, if you are going to want the imagery and the map on the bottom, which you normally do for Waypoint flight, I'd recommend turning off your Wi-Fi, launching the app, and trying to get into it. And there we go. So getting the cell phone to kind of load the Google map. At least you have sort of, oh no, it is, look, it's getting clearer now. I can see it popping in. There we go. So you see how the clarity got better when I switched to my cell phone and turned off my Wi-Fi? So you may want to do that. So do this, get that, it's going to cache that map at the bottom of the screen there, the base map, and so you can have that high resolution. So this is looking way better than when I did the flight. You can actually see details and resolution of trees and stuff. Of course, for those of you that don't like just screen controls, I think there is a Bluetooth controller that you can clip this thing onto, and so you link the Bluetooth somehow to this, and this links to the drone, kind of how it is now, and you can control it with a physical Bluetooth controller wirelessly connected to this whole thing, and this whole thing mounts up, and then you have this range extender. We're going to test how good this thing is. I'm not going to do the range tests around here. I want to do one out in the country that's a lot more isolated, so we don't have all this Wi-Fi. You can see if I zoom out on this map how much housing and stuff we have here that's influencing the signal. But it looks like maybe around 300 feet, around 100 meters or so is going to be in the residential area, the maximum range of this thing before the video starts to chop out. The orbit mode kind of had a hard time fighting any kind of wind, so you can see how when we were orbiting, when its back got to the wind, it was just forced up and it couldn't really keep me in shot. Not sure if I was doing that exactly right, but that's how it worked for me. The icons here, the return to home and the launch icon, I think did it too. They get animated, so it tells you what's going on. That was kind of neat. And what I really liked, which is kind of a feature that DJI has, is this little screen up here. So you press on that screen and you can switch between your video and your other functions, the map, really quick and easily, and it's working really well. So that's great. And again, photos and videos, you can decide for yourself. They look pretty good from the screen here, and you can decide for yourself how you like those. But anyway, guys, that was my review of the H501A from HUBSAN. A pretty cool craft, and then it's definitely getting better. We'll have the links down in the description down below the video down here, so if you want to check out the current pricing and more specs and information on it, go ahead and click that link, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. Sit back,